Yes, sir. Sorry. We can go
No,
ahead.
it's okay. It's okay. No problem. Absolutely no problem.
No, I
Uh,
didn't understand.
Sir, up to how much time I have now?
Sir, up to 8 o'clock. 5 minutes आगे भी जाएंगे तो 1 no problem.
So around 7:40, 7:45, I will stop and we can
Yes.
interact, right?
Right.
Okay. So we'll start. Today, everything is going to be about battles, wars, the external battles, inner battles, and the subject is that. What I want to do is, I want to read a mantra from Rigveda, which is also in Yajurveda, used in many places, including Ashwamedha, because this is about the war. And I want you to remember the English meaning so that we are able to connect it at the end. So let me begin the mantra. This mantra is addressed to the drums. You know, in the war, drums, huge drums are used, and this mantra is addressed to that.
For war cry.
Yes, sir?
We use drum for the war cry. We are starting the war, right?
Yeah, war start.
Okay.
That is it.
Yes.
Akrandaya balamojo na adha nishta nihi durita badhamanaha apaprota dundube duchunagum ita indrasya mushtirasi vidhayasva amuraja pratyavartayema ketumaddundubirvavadhiti tamashvaparnano narosmakagum indra rathino jayantu. O drum, roar and grant us energy and strength by thundering over and throw the obstacles. O drum, drive away bad luck. You are Indra's fist. Demonstrate your strength. Drive away enemies and bring us to the victorious place. The drum makes a loud sound in the battle. Our well-qualified warriors rush along with the speedy horses and assemble. O Indra, let our chariotmen be victorious. That is the prayer to the drums. Please remember the English meaning. If some of you are not able to do anything. So with that, I want to begin. This is the prayer for the drums to drive away all the bad things and bad lucks and everything and bring us to victory. With that, I will move. First is, what are the inner battles we have? All of us have lot of inner conflicts, which we call as battles. That is our thoughts. Every day, people give different numbers. We have 60,000 thoughts or 80,000 thoughts, and out of which, if you observe, most of them are on autopilot mode, repetitive thoughts. We generally don't get new thoughts. If you just sit and think for a moment, what are the new thoughts we got in the last 1 week, which helped us do something better? Did we do that? You can think whether they were creative thoughts, whether they were the thoughts that served us well to take up something and do things better. So, because all our external results are the manifestation of our internal world, we have to give attention to our thoughts. That is why a whole subject has come up. Yes, sir?
Oh,
Whole subject has come up about self-talk, as a man thinketh. And people have realized that the only way for self-improvement, personal development, business performance, productive day, everything starts from the thought. In your Bhagavad Gita sessions, you would have heard, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho. Mind and the thought is the reason for bondage or liberation. All results come from thoughts, also called as thoughts become things. Thoughts become things. That is why it's very important to marshal our thoughts. When we have conflicting thoughts, we call them as battles, inner battles. When we go out and do things, it's our outer battle. But outer battle is directed by inner battle. So in order to give some time for our inner battles, we have picked up the topic of battle, inner battle, for our SOS Skilling on Saturday. As long as we are able to get internal victories, we don't have to worry about external victories. External things are just results, like how a calf follows a mother cow. External victory will follow for a person who has internal victory. There is no doubt. The external victory is only a consequence of what happens inside. So that is our thing. Now we say there is a battle, there is a conflict. What are the possible type of conflicts everybody has? See, what are our basic goals? Whoever has come here has read in general more than me about personal development. Otherwise, nobody will come on a Saturday, 7 a.m. So we know our in general life goal, if we have to take the basic minimum, it may be dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Or if we can extend it to 8 numbers or 10 numbers, it may be our finance, it may be our health, it may be our spiritual goals, it may be career goals, it may be relationship goals, maybe 8, 10, you know the wheel of life. And whatever we write, 50, 100, 200 goals has to revolve around this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts of life. So what are the disturbing and conflicting things? Hirani sir, allow me to share the screen, sir, so that we get a precise.
Just a minute. Sorry. I should have done it before.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, done. Sorry.
No. Yeah.
हमारा गीता का खत्म हुआ चालू होना एकदम फास्ट हो गया तो
no problem. Good. I was actually thinking that I may not get the time. Anyway,
no, I requested Prabhuji to finish it by 7, but दो पाँच में हो जाता ना आगे पीछे. I cannot tell him like that.
Yeah. See, these are some of. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, these are these. There is no one single correct way of saying what are the conflicts we can get. See, a normal man will get these sort of disturbances or conflicts in his mind. One is, see, it may be a moral conflict, whether this is right to do or not right to do. It may be a sexual conflict. Sexual means it is not just a physical body sexual. We have to include all desires here. Like I want a car, I want something else. I want to have good food. All the wants we can put here, religious and spiritual, all combined in one thing, what to do, what not to do. It may be political, it may be love or relationships, it may be existentials. Existential means what I need to do, what has to be done, what is the purpose of life. When we come to question, what is the idea of my existence? Why have I taken birth here? Why am I here? When these kind of thoughts come, they are called as existential issues in psychology language. So, causes of internal conflict, why do we have? Resistance to change, attachment to belief, inaccuracy of priorities, lack of self-awareness. These are the type of conflicts that can have. There can be another list also. This is not the final list as such. This is just to give a rough idea of these things. Now, what happens when we have these conflicts and we have not resolved these conflicts? When we don't resolve the conflicts, our development gets disturbed. Our development gets hindered. We don't grow smoothly ahead because we get caught up in our own inner battles. And our thoughts become our biggest thoughts and our battles. Having said that, what are the concepts we have to apply in deciding what conflict I have to resolve, how I have to resolve? There are various suggestions, and mainly they are called as strategies. A war is run on the basis of strategies. What are the basic elements of a war? We have the warring parties or the opposing views or the conflicting ideas. We need energy. We need resources. There will be a place. And finally, there will be an outcome, a victory or a loss. These are some of the elements of war. The entire thing has to be run on strategy. That is why we want books on strategy and warfare. What we are trying to do is look at some of the literature available on war strategies and adopt those strategies to deal with our inner battles and help us get better results in our outer battles. There are literature by Western authors. Our own Chanakya has also written briefly about the war. And most famous war book has come from China. 2,500 years ago, Sun Tzu wrote a book called as The Art of War. Small book, around 112 or 113 pages, but it became so widely accepted worldwide. And it was applied to business, it was applied to personal development, it was applied to every field, the art of war. 2,500 years ago. Now, in the year 2006, a very famous author called as Robert Greene. He wrote a book called as 33 Strategies of War. And he has acknowledged in the beginning itself that he is inspired by Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Robert Greene has also written other books called as, most famous one is 48 Laws of Power, if you can remember. So I am not going to talk about the 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene, because that is a 653-page book. And Sun Tzu is the source for him also. But his Robert Greene's 33 strategies is very elaborate. It gives the strategy, it gives the application, it gives a story, everything. So in case required, I will share the soft copy of book later, and I will send it to admins. But right now, what I will do is I will limit myself to Sun Tzu's. That too, it has 13 chapters. It has 13 chapters. So I will limit my talk to the main chapters, because we cannot get into.
The name of book is Art of War, right?
The Art of War.
By Sun Tzu.
Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, these concepts are actually for us to apply it in our today's context. We are not going to fight a physical war, but we are supposed to take the principles from this on these main aspects: detailed planning and assessment. Whenever we have to pick up a battle, whenever we have to spend money on a project, whenever I have to start a new business, what I am supposed to do? Detailed planning and assessment. Evaluate the situation thoroughly, compare attributes, look for the strategic turns. Means basically I should visualize a lot before we commit resources, before we do anything. That should form the basis of our decisions in our mind. Strategic. Next is chapter number 2. Have enough resources, go for swift victories, share the rewards, master your craft. Otherwise, what happens? Huge wastages will happen. 3. Strategic attacks. This is the spiritual part of all the war books. See, none of the war books say war is good. All war books are telling war is bad. But it is an essential to run a country. Same way, conflict in our life is not good. But without chaos, no victory will come. We will not grow unless we take challenges. Win without fighting, improve your strength ratio, no remote intervention, obey fundamental principles. See, for example, one story given was like this. A village had felt somebody, city A is attacking him. What he did is he sent a message to city C telling city A is attacking city C, who was much bigger. So city C went and attacked city A. The village was left safe. That was a strategy. The village did not fight the war. They put 2 other enemies together and they started fighting. So without fighting a war, they have won, and they also got a new friend who is very powerful. This has happened in the history every time when British came to India. So that is a strategy of war. If in our thinking, there is a scope to adopt these kind of strategies, we can have smooth victories. See, war, battle, don't go too much by morals alone because you will be defeated. Even to practice moral, you have to survive. Tactical dispositions. War has a lot of deceptions. 4. Tactical dispositions. Have invincible defenses, become strategically superior, focus resources using information. In business circumstance, always happens. Develop some USP, ultimate selling points, unique propositions. What is your value proposition to the customer, which the competitor can never come near? See, for example, if you look at the Apple phone, no other phone is comparable to Apple, whatever we say. See, I don't have an Apple. I am not an Apple fan or a customer. I have a MI phone. That is different. But become invincible with some points. What are the strength? Maximize that. Use of force. Have a sound structure. Use extraordinary force to win. Combine timing and momentum. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. In war, timing is everything. Wait for the winter to come. Means in the war, if the timing is lost, everything is lost. Strength versus weakness. Take the initiative. Create relative superiority. Be tactically flexible. Gain knowledge. Use the element of surprise. Never attack the enemy when he is expecting you. Attack when he is least expecting you. Maneuvering. Look for advantageous routes. Gain critical mass. Deceive your opponents. Communicate effectively. Gain a mental advantage. Maneuvering. When we think inside our mind about our projects, about our growth, about our relationships, about our finances, about anything that we want to decide, give room for maneuverability. How I will go to the left, how I will go to the right, how I will adjust. Think about it. Tactical variation. Explore tactical options. Develop strong defenses. Avoid key leadership flaws. Then moving and deploying troops. That is your resources, your money, your capital, your computer, your laptop, your assets, your employees. Moving and deploying troops. Take a strong position. Seek high ground. Assess the situation. Build discipline. If an army is without discipline, there is no way it will win, how much ever small is the enemy. Similarly, in the physical war, there is a principle that the cost of attacking an enemy at a higher altitude is 10 times more than attacking an army which is below you in altitude. Generals will know this. Terrain. Know your battleground. Observe loss of leadership. Pick the fights you can win. Know yourself. Know your foe. See, here one line is there. Pick the fight you can win. In warfare strategy, if you know you cannot win, buy time. Postpone the war. Wait for your time to win. You don't experiment like that. That is what it says. 9. The battleground. Choose the right battleground. Shape your opponent's strategy. Make winning the only choice. Plan coordinated attacks. Press ahead. Learn how to keep winning. See here, make winning the only choice. That is to say, burn the boat. After reaching an island, burn the boats so that none of you can go back. You have to stay there, fight those people, native people, set up your land there, burn the boat, no scope to go back, death or victory. That is the situation where we have to be in a battleground if we must have the victory. That is why small armies sometimes defeat large armies. Attack with fire, be disruptive, consolidate your gains, exercise your restraint. You have seen this in the startup world. Always people say, come up with a disruptive technology. That is the language of startups. Then consolidate your gains, scale up. If you get one order, make it 10 orders. Exercise restraint. Intelligence and espionage. Information is the new oil. Data is the new oil. That is the language. Intelligence and espionage. Invest in good intelligence. Create an intelligence system. Use counterintelligence. So these are the broad 13 chapters of the book. We have not got into the book yet, but we are not going to get into the details of 150 pages, 600 pages and all. That is beyond our current time constraints. So whenever we are deciding about anything, we have to apply these principles and we have to choose our plan of action. What is to be done? So that once the clarity comes, it's easier. Clarity is power. Basically, clarity is power. That is about the art of war part of it. Apart from whatever we have spoken, there are many books on war. Many strategies are there, but this is the like Bhagavad Gita of the art of war subject. Okay. Next is, after doing all these things, what are we trying to do? We are trying to arrive at some meaningful goals. In life, the total sum of whatever we do has to amount to meaningful goals, which once again, all of you are very familiar. What are the meaningful goals? Whatever adds to our life in a positive way is a meaningful goal. We have seen the areas of life, the wheel of life. It can be anything adding to those parts of our life that becomes meaningful life. At a later stage, what happens is we have to go by the Maslow's hierarchy, where after our basic needs are met in the pyramid, when we go forward, it has to be self-realization and self-actualization should be the goal. Self-realization and self-actualization will take us to significance, impact to society, and at the last stage of growth, it will come to where we are not worried about what comes to us. Whether I am recognized or not, none of this will matter. At the last stage, it is only the contribution which has to be our aim. But that has to go step by step. We must earn money. We must have all status. We must have everything. And then move towards the last in the pyramid of self-actualization, self-realization, impact, significance, and reach the level of where we are very happy with the contribution. No strings attached, service to the humanity. So that the overall good in the world grows and the evil comes down, the pain comes down. So if we can come to these kind of goals, they are called as meaningful goals. Otherwise, we ourselves will not get meaning in what we are doing. even happiness, fulfillment, and joy is for me. The next level is contribution. That should be the final goal, and we have to choose that at the appropriate stage. The next, how do we move towards that? There is a subject where the decision has not come out, going on for a long time. One is by Anders Ericsson. If you practice for 10,000 hours deliberately for something, you become an expert. So we can choose becoming an expert as a goal. Obviously, we have to be experts in something somewhere. Another research by one more professor, one Mihail. He says, if you can have talent, practice properly, you achieve a status of flow when you perform your job. So that flow status is the desirable, where massive results will come. You'll forget what you are doing. You will just flow to superlative performance. That is one angle. Another similar concept developed by one one teacher, Angela Duckworth, is called as grit. She has written a book by the name Grit. And her concept is that she has designed something called as a grit scale, where perseverance over a period of time and hard practice produces massive results, like national awards, Olympic level athletes. So here we are finding out what is the ingredient to reach the pinnacle of your performance. Is it superfine practice? Is it a long number of hours of practice? Or it is soiling our hands and hard work, not giving up even when I am failing? Which will take me to the top? So for that, just to give you an idea, I collected some, actually this is page number 105 to 109 in the book called as Grit. There, Angela Duckworth was able to get these two professors to talk, Ericsson and Mihail. His name is very difficult to pronounce. That's why I will make a mistake and pronounce it as Mihail. Okay. And she narrates when they themselves spoke in her presence. I just want to read it or show you that, because I cannot reproduce that. See, as professionals, as business people, the more pointed we are, the better results will come. The more better strategy we have, quicker we can do things with less resources. Strategy is the deciding part. here she is writing, the year after Ericsson and I began working together, Mihaly spent his summer at my university as a scholar in residence. He is as eminent a psychologist as Ericsson, and both have devoted their careers to studying experts. But their account of world-class expertise couldn't be more different. For Mihaly, the signature experience of experts is flow, a state of complete concentration that leads to a feeling of spontaneity. Flow is performing at high levels of challenge and yet feeling effortless, like you don't have to think about it, you are just doing it. For example, an orchestra. Okay, that is about flow. For Ericsson is skeptical that deliberate practice could ever feel as enjoyable as flow. In his view, skilled people can sometimes experience highly enjoyable states during their performance. These states are, however, incompatible with the deliberate practice. So the approach itself is different. Finally, what she says is, so who is right? That is the question. They had a session in the university where both people were invited and they did not debate. They had two separate sessions. So there was no debate. And finally, what this lady decides is simple. Deliberate practice and flow and grit. 3 items she combines. This is the conclusion. I have come to the following conclusion at the center of the page. I have come to the following conclusion. Gritty people do more deliberate practice and experience more flow. Gritty people do more deliberate practice and experience more flow. This is the conclusion she says. Both are right, both are partly right, and she adds another element called as grit for the superlative performance. Okay. Next, with all this about battle, expert, meaningful goals, and everything, we need to have a spiritual base for all that we do. We need to have a spiritual base for all that we do. Without that, nothing will work. So I want to go back to Bhagavad Gita, where see, when we talk about internal and external, first Sri Krishna says to Arjuna, to see my glorious form, I will give you a divine eye. In your normal eye, you cannot see me in that form. So what is that? That means Arjuna sees Krishna in the inner things. What we see outside is very small part of the universe. What happens internally is directly happening at the cosmic level itself. Okay. When we decide internally, which is positive for the world, what happens? Krishna is telling, Tasmat tvam uttishta yato labhasva jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samruddham mamaivete nihata purvameva nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. Means Krishna is telling, all these people are killed by me already. You become just an instrument. Nimitta matram. You become a tool. I have already done the job. So even in our case, all jobs are already done. We have to be just tools. That is one concept. Whenever I decide something, I am only a tool. But if I am able to decide in a contributing way, the job is already done by the God or the universe or the system. That's what you call as manifestation. Okay, that is one. Another same concept, same 100% same concept is from the Bible. One is, those days there were fighting among clans, and men from places like Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, they were ganging up and wanting to fight and defeat the people from Judah and Jerusalem. So the people of Judah and Jerusalem were Christians following Jesus. The others were the objecting groups. They were afraid because the army is very vast and these people are weak and small. So they pray. The spirit comes to the body of a person called Jaziel, and he says, I have a message from God. The message is, do not be afraid or discouraged by this vast army, for the battle is not yours, but God's. Can you see the similarity? The battle is not yours, but God's. What happened was, they prayed in the morning. They looked at the vast army which was very close to them outside the town. When they looked, God had made the three clans fight among themselves, and it was a complete ground with dead bodies who had internal conflicts. So these people were saved. Even there, the message is, the war is not yours, it is Lord's. Okay, so when we have good things, good goals, universe will conspire to help us. And another thing, why we are concerned more about the internal world is because now I will come to connecting the mantra that I had spoken earlier. I hope you remember. For this part, I am using mostly Sri Aurobindo's work, where every yajna that we are doing has an external part, an internal part. The internal part is called as inner yajna or antar yajna. The literature that I get from Anand Kumar Swami and Sri Aurobindo is the basis for what I am talking now. If you are interested, you can locate it. Everything that we do in a physical puja or yajna has a internal part for that. That is because there is something called as know thyself, know thy enemy. If we have to fight, we have to know about ourselves clearly, and we have to know our enemy also. So when I say know thyself, what is it? Who am I? These people have a concept called as the gross body and the layers. Annamaya kosha, manavamaya kosha, jnanamaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha. It's a sack of food and brain and the layers of my personality, my consciousness. The same is called as, when we say bhu, bhuaha, swaha, they are called as layers of Vyasati. Sometimes they say 3, sometimes they say 7. So when we do a yajna or any action, there is a part, gross, physical, three-dimensional, and subtle, and subtler, and subtler, and subtler. So when we make a decision, internal, the subtle aspects of our personality changes. That is the internal process, how a yajna will change the result at the subtler form. Same way, when we make an internal decision, that is how the subtle part will change. Now, all over the world, how to take control of the subtle parts of our personality, people have so far come up with yoga, pranayama, prayer, and these kind of soft skills. And with that, I want to go back to that prayer which I did, because now I will tell you all mantras have one external. See, we said our meaning then was, O Dundubi, make a roaring sound so that the obstacles are removed. Now, can we say that Indra, this prayer is for one concept is that every mantra has to have who is the ruling deity, who we are praying, what is his function, what are we wanting. These elements have to come. Once they come, they act like an affirmation and they affect the subtle aspects. So here, when I say, oh, Dundubi means, can I say, this is my talk, voice. And obstacle, can I say, they are the disturbances in my mind. So if we can substitute our thinking power, and Indra is mind, let my mind become disturbance free. And what I want is good decisions to choose the right battles. This is the inner meaning of that mantra. That's why I said, remember, it's not about drums and sounds. It is about removing the disturbance by clearer thoughts. And with that, I hope I have given you concepts which will help you in choosing your battles and some strategies. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. समझ, इसीलिए मैंने आपका एडिफाई करने में इतना टाइम नहीं गवाया. I didn't waste time in edifying you more. I wanted you to speak for yourself.
Oh, thank you.
So that is more better, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So anybody had any questions to be asked? Shivani ma'am, can you say something?
So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us. Anyone having questions? One question we get from it is question from Narenji. Is Mahabharata also on war? Would you like to answer?
Which one? Which one?
Mahabharata.
Is Mahabharata also
Is also on war.
Okay. Let me first of all tell you, I have never read full Mahabharata, and I have never read full Mahabharata, but it is definitely not a book on war. It is definitely not a book on war. And here I said inner battle, inner war is a symbol of conflict. Even Mahabharata, we call it as Dharma Shastra. Mahabharata is never called as a Yuddha Grantha. It is called as Dharma Shastra, Itihasa, Purana. Those are the names given for that. It's actually the Dharma Sukshmas given in Mahabharata is more elaborate than the Upanishads or Vedas. If you take Vaishnava Sampradayas, for them Puranas and Mahabharata is the foundation. Bhagavad Gita is there. So 100% we can never ever call Mahabharata as a war book. It's not about war. It is about dharma.
Thank you, sir.
Dharma Yuddha.
Questions from
There, Yuddh is consequential, sir.
Yes, you're right. Basically upon
any other
Dharma.
questions?
Yeah.
Previously it was like that. War was fought based on Dharma.
All war picture. See, we go by symbols. We go by symbols. You take modern psychologist, you take Vedic literature, it is about symbols.
Yes.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you everyone. Like to throw some time. Yes,
Focus
definitely
topic
a
today.
new focus topic today. Thank you, Dinesh. It's
This topic was chosen by
7:59.
Sir himself.
Yes. Next week, we are having Amrit Deshmukh, the booklet guy, with us. We are coming with some interesting topics. So I hope every one of you will join and also share it in your network so that more people can benefit out of it.
Yes. People love it.
Thank you everyone for joining today. We'll connect in next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.